Hello makers and welcome back to Spectiva Studios. It's really good to have you here. Now today I want to try something with paint pens, and I love working with paint pens because they give you a lot of precision, but also some really cool effects, and also mixing those things together is really what we're going to work on today. Now what I have here in front of me is just a small piece of watercolor paper. What I'm doing is I'm basically taping the edges here. I want to be able to mask off these edges so I don't get any paint on those. And it's an easy enough process here. I'm just basically taking some low-tack Scotch tape here. This is just really good for removing off things like paper so we don't end up peeling anything. And I'm going to kind of just, again, it's semi-translucent, which makes it really easy to kind of figure out how wide my margin's going to be. And we're going to bring that down there. And then on the other side, we just bring it back and kind of wrap it like that, so that we have it nice and tight on this side. And what I generally do once I've give a little time to this is just get that sealed. I'll take a pair of scissors and I'll just trim off the excess here on both sides, just so I don't have to have that possibly getting in the way of other things that I'm doing. All right. Now, the objective in this case is going to be to create a black background here. I just want to be able to lay down a layer of black here because that's the color I'd like to work on top of. So I'm going to be using some basic flat matte apple barrel black. Say that 3 times really fast. And I'm going to get just a layer down here, and the objective again is just to give myself a something that's not a white surface to work with here. So let's come in here, and again I'm going to lay this down. It's going to take just a moment to really do it. And I'm going to try to, as much as possible, and I might come back in here and just burnish my edges just a little bit on the tape, just to push it down a little bit more. Create as much of a seal so that the black paint can't possibly sneak under it. But I am going to work away from the edge best I can. Sometimes the best way to do it is at an angle here. Just make sure we're not pushing paint up against that lip if we can help it, because that's going to also minimize the amount of possible paint that can get underneath there. I'm going to kind of seal the edges like this first. All right, and then it's a matter of just kind of smoothing things out. And again, this is a relatively small piece of paper. It shouldn't take long for us to be able to come in here and coat the edges, get all that sealed up, and then just fill in the middle. And again, I want this to be really just as smooth as possible for what I'm doing. So I'm going to come back here and try to remove any brush marks as well as I get in here, and just measure my paint out. Again, I don't want to have globs and globs of paint, so I'm going to try to take the paint I have in here and smooth it in as best I can before I get more. And there we go. Maybe one more little dab here will do it for us. And then again, let me come across here with just some smooth strokes to get all this paint on the same layer as it were. Get rid of any of the brush marks. And bring it across like that. And that is looking pretty darn good. Now, one of the things you might be able to see here is the paper is starting to bow, and that is a result of the moisture in the paint, the water of the paint. And it's gonna make a little bit of a tent here for a while as it arches up. And this is actually really useful for me because I want to let this dry, and one of the things I can do is just come in and see. Once it dries, it will actually settle flat again. So I'll give it some time, maybe 20 minutes or so, for it to dry, settle flat, and then we're going to come back. I'm going to show you how we can set things up for the piece of art I would like to work on today using our paint pens. Welcome back. Now I'm going to be working on my new beautiful piece of black paper here with some new paint markers I just picked up. Now these are manufactured by the company Sharpie. And I've not used these before yet, and they were affordably priced, which is, if you have shopped for paint pens, you'll know is not always the case. Sometimes these can be very costly. And we'll give a sense of how these will work for us, but as you can see, there's a wide variety of colors in this combination here, and some things I think will really work out for what we want to be able to do here. Now, one of the things I'm thinking about with this particular piece is I want to kind of break it into 3 even columns, if you will. I'm going to be working on the vertical here. And the thought is something that comes in a couple inches and a couple inches and, a couple inches. Now I don't need to grab a ruler. I'm going to kind of just approximate this. I'm going to be using a little bit of this very thin tape as well to try to figure out kind of where my demarcation is. I can move these around. Let me just kind of stick it down temporarily. And again, I'm kind of trying to break this into thirds. That's the overall objective. And I'll share with you why this is. We're going to go for a look and feel here. There we go, and again, I'm going to do the same thing for that. It looks pretty good overall. Now I may lift this up as I'm working on it. What I'd like to do in here is I'd like to come in and choose a few colors that I think are going to work really well against the black background. I think this yellow and this red are going to do that for me. And we'll may play around. Maybe there's a little bit of orange in here as well. Actually, I'm going to do orange and red instead of yellow and red, just because I can. So here's what I'd like to do is I'm going to come into this section and I want to be able to put something that's going to appear kind of where these lines are. I'm going to put a long box here, and I'm going to put actually shorter boxes here. Just, I don't know, just it's abstract art. This is what we do. We kind of wing it as we're going through here. So let me come in here, and I'm going to draw a line down here. Again, I'm going to parallel my yellow line best I can. Good. I'm going to do something about equidistant on the other side of the yellow line over here. That's good. Yeah, this will work quite fine. And let me lift my tape here. And I'll connect my line here and my line here. Again, when you're working with paint pens, try not to get your hand involved in this, since yeah, it's not gonna help that paint stay where you want to put it. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to grab the orange. I'm going to grab an inner line here. We'll just bring it down like this, and I'll bring it across like this, and I'll do the same thing. And we're just creating kind of a boundary. There's a black inner line on both sides. Yeah. Do something here. I got a little bit of a place where I can see it. I'm going to smooth that out. All right, that's kind of fun. Going back into my red pen here, and similar kind of thing. Let's just come in here. Let's get a red line on the inside of our orange line now. And that looks pretty good too. And then finally, let's come in here, and I'm going to kind of just do a central orange in here. And does that kind of cover both? It kind of really does what we need it to do. I'll bring that back up there like that. All right. So that's going to be on that side. Now again, I've kind of kept my tape where it is. I'm going to bring it back in here. And I'll give that a moment to dry, but I want to be able to bring that back up here. Like I said, I'm going to do the same type of thing over here. I'm going to just make it so that it's not quite the same. And I'm going to make this one a little bit more of a square. I'm going to make a couple of them. I'll make another one down here, and like that. And again, if I peel my tape down, I'll share with you why we're doing the tape in just a moment. Bring it across like that, and I'll bring it across like that, and across like that. And again, let me do some work on the inside here with my orange pen. So inner line here. That's pretty nice. That'll work. Again, we're not going for precision. We're going for kind of texture and color and a little bit of geometry in here. That's the goal. Let's get another red line on the inside here. Another red line on the inside here. And then finally, we're going to finish that with a bit of an orange core, like we did on the other side. There we go. That's nice. And that's nice there. All right. Happy with those. Now this side is dried, so I'm going to bring my my line up here. Again, kind of right up the middle, like that. Now why am I doing this? Because I really want to be able to control. I'm going to put some horizontal lines in now, and I want to control where the lines break. I want to leave basically a black gap here, and I'm going to do the same thing over here once this finishes drying, just a wee bit. All right, now it doesn't have to be precise, but again, I have my vertical lines in here. I'm going to just move things horizontally just because it's easier for me to put the lines that I want to put in. And I have a spectrum of colors here. Again, let me get these lined up for you here. And I'm actually going to start with kind of a gray color, and I'm going to work my way down. I just want to create some lines to go across, but also, you know, don't go across the things we've already created. We'll just create something interesting like that. Actually, let me start up here. This will be my top. So I'm going to grab my gray pen here. And what I'm doing here is I'm coming in, I'm going to, again, make sure nothing on the that you put down here is already wet, because I'm going to get my hands in here at some point. And I'm just going to grab a line and draw it across the top here. And I'm going to stop right before my yellow line. I'm going to draw a line from here to here, stop before my yellow line, and draw a line from here to here. What I'm trying to do is just, I want to be able to clearly see where the lines start and stop. Again, that kind of rounded end on the pen. It's going to be a lot more interesting than if it's masked off. And I'm going to do the same thing down below it. So let's draw a line here. Let's draw a line here. And if you play around with these different pens and you work on a white background versus a black background, you will see that the look and feel is very, very different. These would pop very differently on a white background, obviously. And I'm going to put about 6 lines of each color coming down. And with the gray, there's nothing to get in our way yet, but we're about to bump into something in just a moment. There we go. There we go. There we go. And let's just get a line here to here. Get a line here. We'll stop right at the top there, and we'll pick the line up right there. So we're going to basically break not only at the line, but at the objects we've already created here. That's it for my gray lines. I'm going to put a white line here, and again, the white shows up really nicely against the black. It will pop a little bit more. There we go. And we'll come back up here. Do that. And do that. And we're going to start getting just a really cool effect. I'm going to come up here and see. We'll pick it up right about there. No right or wrong answers here. And with the objects already in place here, less lines to be drawn. We have a bunch of things we need to pop over here. Alright, so that looks pretty good. That's the white. I'm going to put some yellow down next. I have that here, and again, this looks really good against the black background. It pops really nicely. So the lighter colors in this context are the ones that really stand out. Okay, looks like we're going to make a full line here and a full line here. Like that. And you can see again, the objective here is not to create artwork very quickly, but as you can see, especially working with a small format, in this case we're working with 8.5 by 11 paper size, it makes things go pretty quickly. Let's see, what do I want to put in here next? I'm going to put some orange in. That'll be kind of a, follow our spectrum flow a little bit. So there's orange. And you can also space the lines out a little bit differently. If you feel like you're kind of tightening things up, I'm getting a little lopsided here, so I'll put a little bit more space between them here and a little thinner here so that everything comes together nicely. And it looks like we're going to do a complete line of orange right in there. All right, and now we're going to bump into another thing. So we'll pick that up. We'll pick that up. And that is 6. Okay, and next up is going to be my red. Kind of a Roy G. Biv thing going backward, perhaps. And I encourage you to play around with whatever colors you want. There's no right way to do this. This is an experiment in using these new paint pens, which I'm going to say I really like. Sharpie is not a sponsor of this channel yet, but I do like to try different things out and share the results with you. And I'll find a link for these as well to share with you. So far, I'm pleased with just the flow and the usability. It's a good product, and like I said, it was a good price. And I've gone into the art supply stores, which I love to do, but sometimes you get the fancy schmancy art supply prices, which are, you can have one pen for $18 kind of thing. And there are times you're like, is this better than, what I have sitting in a drawer in my studio? And sometimes you don't know. But these are pretty good. Good coverage. Of course, new pens are new pens. They're always kind of good first thing out of the box. And as you use them up, you use them up. All right, looks like we're going to actually finish at the bottom here almost perfectly with our lines, and I'm happy about that. A few more to go. If we're a little short, doesn't really matter so terribly much. Let's get one more in here. And there we go. And there we go. All right. Now, this is really part of the fun, I think, especially when we're working on anything, is let's get this tape off of here. And now we can see that there's this nice line between this column and this column. And now, with this column, as well. And this is one of my favorite parts of, oh, I know, it's a weird thing. It's taking off the masking and just seeing that nice clear boundary. It makes a huge difference. I'm going to work on the back here and just, let's take off the side that's actually on top. Usually what I'll do is I'll just unravel it all the way down one side. And with masking tape, again, one of the things that you want to be very careful is you're not going to tear the paper. And usually I pull it about a 45-degree angle. And I'll just make sure, and take it slow. There's nothing wrong with taking your time on this. It certainly beats, you know, shredding the paper out. But you can already see what a nice clean line. We've got a little bit of a bleed under there. It does happen. I'm not going to fret it because the chances of anybody actually seeing that and noticing are pretty limited. But let's get this, again, this side off. And let's get that down like that. And I love just that white boundary really just starts to pop things so nicely. It cleans it up beautifully. It just makes you feel like you made something pretty amazing. And we'll get these off as well. Again, the big reveal. Oh, gorgeous. This one's got a little residual down here. There we go. And that's nice. And one more to go. And again, huge difference once we get this this tape off and the overall effect that we're going for. All right. Now again, this is just really an experiment as much as it is anything else. The objective here was to test the pens and come up with a color combination and a look and feel. And I like this. I mean, I'm not going to throw it up in the gallery. I'll put it in my collection of tests. But I encourage you to be able to try things like this for yourself. Again, white backgrounds, black backgrounds, try different color combinations, different shapes, and just kind of break them apart. And again, the objective here was just to really create something that when it was done really looked like it was planned, because it was. We planned this one out a little bit. It's not all abstract art is fully abstract. A lot of it is actually planned to a great degree. It's just the results are more abstract. Anyway, that's what I want to share with you today. And again, I'll put the description, the list of all the stuff we're using in the description below, so you can check it out for yourself. Anyway, that's what I have for you. If you love what we did here, guess what? We do this every single week. We'd love to be able to share more tips and tricks and just tools as well as creating actual projects together. We do that all the time. So please feel free to hit that subscribe button down below and we'll let you know when another video has dropped. Anyway, I'm Spider. Thank you so much for dropping by, and I'll see you real soon.